This marvelous scene is brought to you by some intense geologic history. About 15.4 million years ago, basalt lava from the Ginkgo flow rushed all the way to the sea here from Washington, creating that headland in the background. Many volcanic events made for dramatic rock formations as well as dazzling stones and fossils, revealed by erosion for us today. Can you spot the petrified wood? With ribbons of agate. Pet wood isn't the only old wood on the beach. There are areas on the coast where the ghost forest can be seen. It's likely a huge earthquake on the Cascadia subduction zone lowered these trees suddenly, perhaps 25 feet. They were covered by debris and thus preserved. These roots, buried most of the year, are possibly from that event.
Are you a rockhound, Lily? Are you a rockhound? Go get it. Go get the rocks. Get the rocks. Good girl.
You might find an agate. It's really interesting when an agate finds its way into a fossil shell. The volcanic events were responsible for depositing silicates in abundance. These silicates would ride into empty spaces, like a lava bubble or shell, with water and solidify. Voila, you have an agate. A whole handful of agatized spiral fossil shells. If those were yours, wouldn't you wonder what's inside? I fired up the lapidary machine and polished this one. Incredible. You can see blue fortification lines and that crystal druzy quartz pocket. Sometimes the fossil shells are partially or completely covered with host rock or matrix. I kept on finding these odd porous rocks, and there was always a shell inside. It turns out these were the favorite shells of ancient hermit crabs, and that weird crust were the organic remains of the stowaways on their shell. Here we are again wondering what's behind that curtain of matrix material. I hand ground the matrix away and this pristine shell was within. It's like opening a birthday present from the Miocene era. Beautiful fossil bivalves. A cool thing that sometimes happens to these guys is the agate flows in and fills their body. It's called a clam belly. Folks have found some of their last supper, frozen in time, or stone as it were. Wondering about what you might have found? There are great events like the Fossil Fest at the Hatfield Marine Science Center. You can bring your lucky find in and someone in the know will identify it. Here, William Orr is telling Lisa and Rachel a big fish story about Lisa's Miocene-era fossil rockfish vertebrae. He asked if she had any more good finds, and she did. Wow, an Eocene-era crab? It's like Antique Roadshow. It's exciting to find out. I took this chunky bone in that Steve found. That's a 5.5-inch rail it's sitting on for scale. Turns out it's an ancient agatized whale rib. Better keep this bone from Lily. Ready to hit the beach? Great. There are some things to keep in mind though. Check your tide tables, go out with the low tide, and watch the beach before going on it. Surgy surf and sneaker waves are no joke. The waves can be powerful enough to pull you right out to sea. Here are some of our county emergency crews practicing on Yaquina Head. Those colorful dots are them on the cliff face high above Agate Beach. It's best to be careful, but if you need to be rescued from the rocks or the water, it's good to know that these folks are on the scene, as well as the Coast Guard. Thanks, heroes. The mighty king tide coming in at the Yaquina Head Lighthouse at high tide. This is an ideal place for watching big surf and storms. And don't worry, there are plenty more stones out there on the beaches and ones that we didn't even cover. If you're interested in more info, check out books by William Orr and a shout out to Nick Zentner and his geology video series. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comments. Like and share, and thanks for watching.